Well, hello there. It is great to see you again, and welcome back to the Advance Your Wealth live stream series. I am your host and moderator, Ryan Ruff, and as always, we've got Homer Smith, our star of the show, joining us here from Convergent Wealth Partners for another wealth management related discussion. That's what Homer and I tackle each time we get together. And a quick note for those of you that are jumping in, joining us live here on the Facebook live stream today, we appreciate you being here. And a big part of the reason why we do this live here on Facebook is we want to open up the opportunity for you guys to leave any questions or comments regarding the topic at hand behind for us. And Homer and I will make sure we take some time, out to address those questions and comments throughout today's show. So feel free to leave one of those beneath for us. But if you're checking us out after the fact on a podcasting platform, maybe YouTube, either way, great to have you. We appreciate you being here. Today, we've got a really good conversation dialed up for you guys. Today, we're really talking about a process, and it's a tried and true. So let's frame it up here for you. When it comes to managing wealth, it's pretty rare for somebody to just stumble into success, right? Typically, the most successful individuals and families, they're employing a true wealth management process that's designed to kind of anticipate the different challenges that they're bound to face along that road to true success. So we're going to be diving into what this process looks like and just how Homer and his team at Convergent Wealth are working with their clients to implement this process so that they can achieve that level of success on purpose, just as they had designed to do so. So that being said, let's go ahead and bring Homer in and get today's conversation rolling. Homer, it's good to see you this morning. How you doing?
I'm well, Ryan. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to be with you. Homer, we are really driving home this idea of this tried and true process today. Let's start at the high level here. We're talking about the importance of using that right process to guide wealth management decisions. Why do investors need to focus their attention towards the idea of a process and maybe not just one-off solutions here and there?
I think the important place to start is really thinking about the world today. With everything going on politically, economically, socially, there's so much noise. There's so much confusion out there, and it's hard to get clarity on what's most important. And so the benefit of having the right process in place that really helps you get extremely clear on what you're looking to accomplish. What are all the hurdles and challenges that might get in the way of you reaching those goals, and then helping you really have a clear plan and develop a plan that can help you address those challenges and those hurdles, and ultimately give you a better chance of achieving your goals. That's really critical in helping you do that, again, with everything going on out there today. And reality is, look, whether it's in life, in business, and investing, things typically don't, success doesn't typically happen, by accident. It's typically a purpose, a plan that had been put in place, and milestones achieved along the way, and really that clarity of purpose and clarity of what you're looking to accomplish is really what allows you to get there.
Roger that, Homer. And there are a lot of very successful businesses, individuals out there, and I'm sure they all utilize different processes to help achieve that level of success that they got to and are still at. But Homer, do you find that there might be a particular approach or a process that you guys utilize over at Convergent and would recommend for clients?
Absolutely. Sometimes our process is called a virtuous cycle because it's really multi-step, and it's something that it's continually reinforced over time, and to make sure that it's increasingly positive in terms of the results that it can achieve. And there's really six key components of it. The first one is profiling, and really developing a deep understanding of you, and oftentimes we call this discovery. The next one is engaging in a network of professional experts, and really making sure that you have the right team in place that's going to be able to look at all of the potential solutions that are right for you. And then the next piece of that is what we call scenario thinking or scenario planning. And it's really looking at what are all the possible outcomes that we need to be thinking about now and want to plan for along the way. The next there is, once we understand kind of all these things that can come into place through all those scenario planning, it's really framing the recommendations in a way that's understandable and clear, so that you're actually willing to implement them, which is the next step. Because if it's not clear and you're not comfortable with the solution, you're not going to go forward with that next step, which is actually implementing the solutions. And then finally, things change. And so the last component of that is making sure you're monitoring and refining everything, and all the steps necessary along the way. And it's really an ongoing process.
Roger that. And Homer, I want to unpack each one of those steps because there's probably a lot to get into with each one. Let's start with the first one that you had mentioned, that idea of developing a deeper understanding of who you are yourself, that discovery, if you will. Walk us through what this entails.
What I find is most financial advisors and wealth managers are do focus a lot on getting to know you on a personal level to some extent and your goals. Um, but it's really effective wealth planning comes when it goes much deeper than that, and it really starts with your values, understanding what is driving the decision making that's going on in your life. And a lot of people, you make financial decisions on an ongoing basis, but you don't recognize necessarily that likely behind that are a bunch of personal values that are driving those decisions. And so, what our first step in that process is helping our clients understand what those values are. And it also helps us get a better understanding of why our clients making the decisions they're making. And again, it's usually driven by those values. We also want to understand their goals, but not just their goals for themselves, but really goals for everybody that's important to them, including their family, their business, and the community, and making sure we're capturing all of those components of that. Also, the relationships that are important to them, along with that. And again, everyone and everything that's important to them, everyone and everything that's going to be impacted by those decisions. And we want to know their interests. This is an area that oftentimes when I'm meeting with clients and we're asking about their hobbies and things like that matter to them, they're why as a financial advisor are you asking us questions like that? And it's really, without that deep knowledge and deep understanding of even things like what matters to you most and what interests you, without that, we're not able to really bring all of the best solutions to the table. And then it's the process that you want to work with, right? So we talked earlier about the cycle, which includes other professionals. It's important that we understand at a deep level, how do you want to communicate? Is email, phone, in-person meetings, how often, how involved do you want to be? It's all of those components together, which, whether we call it profiling or discovery, is what's really going to allow us to be in a position, which what our clients tell us that differentiates us more than anything else, is that we
Mhm.
end up caring about our clients, their wealth, their family, more than anybody else other than those that share their last name. And so that's, it's gratifying that our clients
Yeah.
really focus in on this relationship component, this discovery profile, and that we get to know them so well that we're able to care about them at that level. So I think that's an important first step in the process.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So here you are, you've got this detailed, extensive knowledge now of your client and the world around them and those who matter most and really what makes them tick. So Homer, walk us through that next step that you had mentioned in this virtuous cycle and where the idea of this professional network comes into play.
Uh, I wish I could tell you that, as a top wealth manager, that I know everything there is to know about every solution strategy that we could bring to the table for a client. But the reality is, no advisor, no matter how experienced and skilled they are, is going to have the deep enough knowledge on all of those areas to really bring all of the very best solutions to the table for a client. So it's critical that your wealth manager have the right team of professional experts on tax, estate planning, and all sorts of other areas that are going to relate to your business and your personal and family planning, and be able to bring them together in a collaborative way where they're all getting to know you and understanding your situation at a very deep level, and then working together to bring the very best possible solutions to the table. So it's, again, there's no one professional that can really do this on their own. And we talk a lot in our sessions about this concept of family office, and we talk about a lot with our clients today. And at the end of the day, there's, if you interview one family office, or if you ask, what the definition of a family office, every family office is going to have a different definition of what that is. And for us, really, what we're trying to do for our clients is really, at the end of the day, we're just a coordinator of experts, because we know that we really need that team to deliver the best results for the clients.
Roger that, Homer. And you had mentioned earlier that the third step in this virtuous cycle was this idea of scenario thinking. Walk us through what you mean by scenario thinking and how that plays a role in achieving success overall.
Yeah. So once we understand the client at a deep level, we've got the
Hmm.
right team of professionals there. What happens a
Yeah.
lot is now this idea of scenario thinking. And at the end of the day, what it's really all about is generating a lot of what if questions and helping the client walk through all sorts of different scenarios that, if not addressed, could lead to outcomes that they're not wanting in their planning. You know, something as simple as, what if me and my spouse die young, and who should have unrestricted access to the money, or when should my kids have that access? What if after I pass, I have a concern that my kids are going to start World War III with the family wealth? Um, what are some ways? What if I want to have my wealth managed in a way where I don't pay tax on any of the growth, but I don't lose access to the control of the funds? What if running a business and I have multiple divisions and I want to sell one of those divisions off and not pay capital gains on that sale? What if you own a lot of real estate and you're worried about somebody falling on one of your properties and suing you? Are you protected for that? So, there's, obviously, depending on the client situation and what you're dealing with, there's hundreds of these what if scenarios. And it's not something you necessarily do all at once. It's something, again, this is an ongoing process that we're constantly looking at all of these areas. But there are a certain set of these that we typically deal with for almost every client. And it's important that we go through that process and really looking at what are all the scenarios that could have a severe impact on your ability to achieve your goals.
Gotcha. So it sounds to me like once you've got multiple ideas on those key issues that are facing you and the world around you, Homer, how do you hone in maybe on a path that seems most fit for the client? Where does that zooming in really happen?
Yeah, the next step in this really is helping clients understand the recommendations based on all of the
Hmm.
scenario planning that we've done. And what I see is one of the biggest challenges, a lot of our clients, your lives are very complex and there's a lot going on, whether it's within your business, whether it's within the family planning. And oftentimes the solutions can be very complex. Not all the time. Sometimes there's simple ways to solve for some of the challenges and roadblocks, but oftentimes it can get pretty complex. And what I find is if the way that we explain it to you is very complex, and we don't allow you to really understand it in a way that's easy to fully grasp the value of that strategy, it makes it difficult to implement it. And so it's really critical. And one of the things that I think I do really well, and what I'm known for is, this with all of, I mentioned earlier, with all the things going on out there politically, economically, socially, we've got all this noise and confusion. One of the things I do well and focus on is help our clients quiet all that noise. Really get clarity of their purpose and really help them navigate all these complex solutions that they're dealing with, and helping explain them in a way that is understandable so that they can take that next step, which is implementing them. Because at the end of the day, all these really smart
Hmm.
experts that are bringing all these great tax planning, estate planning solutions to the table, if clients aren't able to grasp them in a way that they're comfortable with, they're not going to implement them, which means they're then not going to solve for these challenges, get these roadblocks out of the way, and ultimately achieve the goals they're trying to get to.
Sure thing, sure thing. Well, Homer, and around this whole cycle out, you had mentioned earlier this idea of monitoring and refining as time goes on. Walk us through what that looks like from the client's shoes as well as your shoes as you're working with them to achieve, all that they hope to achieve with this virtuous cycle.
I mean, there's 6 steps for a reason. They're all really important, and as you get to each step, that step becomes the most important. And again, this is one that we often see missed when we get introduced to clients for the first time. Is they may actually have had this fantastic plan put in place with all of the right strategies based on what they were dealing with at the time, but the reality is, life changes, right? Tax laws change, estate tax laws change, family dynamics change, innovations and new technologies come along that might require a need to reevaluate the way that you have your plan set up. And maybe some adjustments need to be made to make sure you're still on track to get the results that you were expecting when you set the plan up in the first place. So the reality is, when we're doing complex wealth planning for our clients, this is not something you just put on the shelf and just kind of hope all works out. It's something that needs to be addressed on an ongoing basis, and make sure that you bring back in the team and redo the scenario planning and redo all of the recommendations on a regular basis to make sure that the plan you have in place is still the plan that's going to help you be on track to achieve your goals.
All right. Well, Homer, we've laid the cycle out there for our audience today, and I'm sure it's resonating with a handful of people out there that are watching this and listening to this right now. But let's bottom line, this whole thing for everybody, especially in the idea of helping them determine whether or not a financial advisor or wealth manager, maybe the current individual that they have, that they're utilizing, is using this virtuous cycle approach. How can they determine whether or not that is what their guy or gal is employing?
Yeah. So first, I'd say let's not focus on the name because while we might call it the virtuous cycle,
Sure.
not everybody's going to use the same terms, right? So what I
Mhm.
think what's most important is to understand, are they actually implementing the key features of it, right? So are they getting to know you on a level that's deeper than just asking about your goals and your investment portfolio? Are they really trying to get to every aspect of your business and your financial life, with a goal of helping you optimize the entire picture? And so are they going in just deeper than asking you some base questions about your goals? Are they trying to do it all themselves? Are you regularly seeing them bring in industry experts on tax planning, estate planning, and other areas of your financial life? Or are they trying to do it all themselves? Because we mentioned earlier, no one person can do all of this at the same time. And are they able to explain complex recommendations to you in a way that actually you feel comfortable with and are willing to implement? And are they reevaluating and helping you go through and stress test the plan on a regular basis? So at the end of the day, it's really, are they implementing this entire process? Not so much what they call it is really what's important.
Okay, gotcha there, Homer. And for anybody out there that is interested in this process and maybe going through step one with you and your team, that discovery, that getting to know each other and themselves, on that granular level, and they want to reach out to you guys to start that dialogue, what would be the best way they could get in touch with you and your team?
Yeah. So what I'd say is right now we're going through a lot of transitions economically in the markets, and whenever you might be watching this, we're always going through all sorts of transitions like that. And so I think what would be important is to make sure that you are evaluating and stress testing what you have going on. And so what I would love to do, if you're interested in making sure your plan is up to date and that you have the right team in place to help make sure you're on track for your goals, reach out to us. And the best way is through our website, and or you can email me directly. We'd love to have a chance to set up a strategy call and just get to know each other a little bit and see if there might be a fit. So that's, I would say, would be the best next step from this.
Fantastic. Well, Humber, you're a busy guy. You've got a company to run, some clients to serve. So we'll let you get back to doing that. But I appreciate you carving some time out of your day and being with us to dive into this idea of the virtuous cycle and really why these 6 steps are so important for achieving that success that everybody, aspires to get to.
Thanks, Ryan.
All right. Thank you, Homer. And hey, look, as always, we're going to take one final moment and thank you guys, our audience, for jumping aboard and being with us here on the discussion today. As always, if you took anything away from it, you benefited from the conversation in any way, shape, or form, do us a favor, leave a comment, subscribe to the show on whichever platform you're checking us out on, and then, of course, share this information with any friends, family, business owners, anybody else that you think would really benefit from these types of conversations. We've got a lot of great topics queued up for you guys, and we want to have you we want to make sure that you're with us on each one moving forward so that way you can maximize the value that we bring to you on this show. So for Homer, I'm Ryan. We're going to go ahead and say so long today, but we appreciate you being with us on today's installment of Advance Your Wealth.